South Africa was left in absolute disbelief as live footage captured President Cyril Ramaphosa being dramatically dragged out of a public event, sparking outrage, confusion, and heated debates nationwide. What was supposed to be a routine presidential address quickly spiraled into chaos, leaving citizens stunned and commentators scrambling to piece together the shocking sequence of events. The incident unfolded at a highly anticipated gathering where Ramaphosa was expected to deliver remarks on the nation's progress, key policy decisions, and his vision leading up to the 2026 elections. Cameras were rolling, dignitaries were seated, and millions of South Africans tuned into the broadcast only to witness an unprecedented spectacle. Within moments of him stepping onto the stage, the atmosphere shifted dramatically as loud chants, whistles, and confrontations erupted from within the crowd. Security personnel quickly moved in, but what no one expected was the sight of the president himself being forcefully escorted, almost dragged off the platform in full view of the nation. For many, the images were not only humiliating but symbolic. Critics immediately framed the moment as a metaphor for the crumbling trust between the government and the people. Opposition leaders wasted no time in amplifying the footage, sharing clips across social media with captions that painted Ramaphosa as a leader losing grip on authority and legitimacy. Hashtags like #Ramaphosa dragged and #presidential chaos trended within minutes, with South Africans from all walks of life weighing in. But behind the scenes, the reasons for the incident were layered and far more complicated than the viral footage suggested. Sources close to the event revealed that Ramaphosa was interrupted by groups of protesters who accused his administration of failing to deliver on promises of land reform, job creation, and service delivery. The frustration in the room had reached boiling point, and despite security's best efforts to maintain order, tensions overwhelmed the setting. When some protesters surged toward the stage, security teams acted swiftly, perhaps too aggressively, moving to protect the president by pulling him away in a manner that appeared rough and undignified on camera. The fallout was immediate. Analysts debated whether this was an overreaction by his security detail or a sign of deeper political fractures within the ANC itself. Some even suggested that the incident reflected not only public anger but also cracks in Ramaphosa's inner circle, as whispers of internal divisions have grown louder in recent months. What truly set the nation ablaze, however, was Ramaphosa's response. After being ushered to safety, he insisted on returning to the public eye, later addressing the nation in a televised message. With visible frustration but a determined tone, he stated, "What South Africa witnessed today was unfortunate, but it should not distract us from the truth. Our democracy allows space for disagreement, but it does not allow chaos to silence the will of the people. I will not be intimidated, and I will not be dragged away from the work we must do together." His choice of words, particularly the phrase, "I will not be dragged away," struck many as both defiant and symbolic. Supporters hailed him for refusing to appear weak in the face of humiliation, framing his response as proof of resilience. Critics, however, dismissed the statement as spin, accusing him of trying to mask the reality of a nation that has grown restless with his leadership. Political commentators pointed out that Ramaphosa's decision to confront the humiliation head-on, rather than remain silent, was a strategic move. In doing so, he sought to reclaim control of the narrative and present himself as a leader unafraid to face adversity. Still, the images of him being escorted off stage remain burned into the minds of many South Africans, a visual that opposition parties will undoubtedly weaponize in the months ahead. The incident also reignited larger debates about leadership accountability, the widening gap between promises and delivery, and whether Ramaphosa's presidency can withstand the mounting pressure from both within and outside the ANC. For some, the spectacle was less about one man being dragged out of a venue and more about a government being dragged into the harsh light of public scrutiny. In the end, the event became more than just breaking news, it became a turning point in the political conversation. The unforgettable footage reminded South Africans of the fragility of political authority, the volatility of public anger, and the unpredictability of live politics. Whether this moment becomes a lasting stain on Ramaphosa's legacy or a rallying point for his resilience will depend on how he navigates the turbulent road ahead. For now, one thing is certain: the shocking scenes of a sitting president being pulled from the stage in front of his people will remain one of the most unforgettable political spectacles in South Africa's recent history.